Hi again, everybody. This is Tom Shatel with Tom's press box after a week off, a much-needed week off. Some of us watched our alma mater choke away a game at the end, but it was good to have Saturday off. So I will. We moved ahead today. Mickey Joseph spoke about the Indiana game coming up and the things he did in the week off. Wasn't a lot of news. There've been a few depth chart changes. We'll see if they work. At this point, I feel like it's it's about trying to save this season and make something out of it. But we'll also keep an eye on the silly season, the coaching search, and that seems to be as much on people's minds as anything because, frankly, there hasn't been a lot to talk about on the field. So, with that in mind, I've got a few tips that I'd like to offer for people to get through this the next 2 months. It's going to be a long 2 months, folks. But one is don't believe anything you hear, and maybe even read because. Everybody in each situation either has an agenda or else they're not telling the truth. We hear all kinds of names out there right now, and even Trev Albert said, "Well, I haven't seen anything that I think is accurate." Well, even that could be wrong. He could be fibbing on that too. So nobody's going to tell you anything that's even close to the truth right now, unless a coach comes out on the record and says. I'm not involved, but even then, he could still come back involved 2 months later if the money's right. So, but yeah, I heard last week that one of the names involved. I won't say it because it's still rumor, but that he's not interested. He's going to stay where he's at. But he could have just been saying that. So it's very maddening and frustrating. You're just going to have to keep going. Another thing that I think would be interesting is. The hot coach theory that everybody is waiting. Okay, what this? The Appalachian State last week. People want to know because the Appalachian State coach is he candidate. You're going to have a few guys who get really hot and maybe catch lightning in a bottle this fall, and there'll be people that well, boy, this guy's really got it going. He's the guy for us. And in fact, he may have just got the right quarterback this year. He may have, the team chemistry. They cut a few breaks. They won a couple last second games. So I think when you look at that stuff, Trev Alberts is going to have a kind of step back and take the big picture. What did that coach do the last 2 or 3 years? Also, though, there's a couple of coaches out there that would be really good candidates, but they've kind of fallen on hard times. For instance, David Shaw, like Stanford. Once upon a time would have been a great candidate here, but hasn't won a lot lately. He's probably off people's lists. But does that mean he'd be a bad candidate? Or maybe he needs a fresh start. And again, I've not heard his name. I'm just throwing it out there. Another one is that we heard a little bit after Frost was fired was Northwestern coach Pat Fitzgerald. Again, not having a good year, having a bad year. But does that mean he'd be the bad fit? So I think you have to look at these candidates and you have to kind of take a deep breath and just go, okay, the big picture, what do they stand for? The body of work, is it been more good than bad? And I think we have to take the same approach with Mickey Joseph. As he said today, today's his audition, or this season is his audition, his job interview. And so every time he wins, people are going to go, oh, we need Mickey. Mickey's the guy. We got to hire him. And if he loses, not so much. I'm really interested to see what he looks like at the end of the year, especially the last 3 games. I think will be very telling. At Michigan, Wisconsin at home, at Iowa. Those are games that mean a lot to Nebraska, especially the last 2. They haven't beaten Wisconsin or Iowa. So I feel like we'll know more. The emotions will kind of settle at that point. So we'll we'll see what happens. But it's not going to be dull. It'll be very interesting. It's going to go with emotions and rumors will go week to week, and until then, we will. We'll keep you up on those and everything else that happens there. See you next week.